intend to mix the cultures here in New York City, bring a message of peace. I'm a Brazilian artist, and with this piece I intend to bring a little of Brazilian culture, tradition to New York City. Iemanjá, that is an Afro-Brazilian goddess. She's a sea goddess. People is writing their wishes to her. After that, I intend to put this boat on the water. I leave the dishes of people to the ocean.
My project's called River's Edge. It is about New York's historical relationship with the oyster and its use in urbanization. In the early 1800s, the streets of New York were paved with oyster shells. Since then, there's been a lot of pollution that has gone into the rivers, killing all of the oyster beds. And the rivers have started to actually become a little bit cleaner, and they're clean enough to start supporting some species of oyster. The river project in Tribeca is recolonizing the oyster beds right now, and the oyster itself actually acts as a natural filter, so the more oysters we can get back into the water, the quicker the water will filter out.
I think there's just not enough wind, so it's twisted. It's a series of kites, each with a graphic red arrow pointing in a different direction. And the idea is that when they're all flying at the same time, they suggest trying different directions, trying every direction at once. They also point out things. You know, if a couple is sitting underneath that one that's pointing straight down, suddenly everyone's attention's drawn to that. We actually have a lot more of them, but we decided to fly them on balloons today just for safety, and some of the balloons popped. See, pointing out a wedding right now?
Yeah, my piece is basically about the organic flow. I freeze my pigments in ice, so I freeze dyes, acrylics, inks. I crush a lot of natural pigments, and when you freeze them, it changes the molecular structure of a lot of those. What interests me was the idea that the viewer is actually an artist, and every time a viewer, looks at a piece of work, it is interpreting that work. Today I'm letting people put the block out, and then I'll manipulate the block. But I only have a certain degree of control over that organic form. Originally the ice work started off as me playing around with figurative works. I'm a figurative artist traditionally, so I still call these figurative works. They have a journey which goes from me choosing the pigment and placing it in the water, and then freezing them, and then melting them, and then the drying process again, which they contract. I still like form within that organic process. A lot of it came from the idea that New York is a melting pot for an incredible amount of multi-diversity, and that on a whole these are a group of dots, but if you look closely into them, the intricacies of each one of them is quite unique.
I had these recurring nightmares, so I'd been thinking a lot about dreams and nightmares. Then one morning I woke up and I said to my boyfriend, "Oh, I was up all last night sleeping." And he looked at me like I was crazy, and then I realized what I said. What I'm asking people to do is they can lie down in the bed if they want, and they can recall their dreams, and then they write their dreams out on the ribbons over here. I have ribbons and pens, and they can write out their dreams and then pin them up to the canopy.
Guys, baby. Get in bed. Thank you.
Thank you. That's so great. How fun.
A bed of dreams.
They won't remember who the artist is, but they'll remember the piece. so great.